Georgia, White County, Bigfoot.
Now this is another shot that's from the front.
This is a lot of footage from the front.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, in a previous episode, we were talking about ultralights. The fact that you're going to get an ultralight, you're going to learn how to fly an ultralight.
Let me just say something here, and I know it's hard for you to realize and to relate to other people that don't have the information that you have. But when you just start talking about ultralights, most people
ultralight aircraft. People are
no,
they know
people
about
that have seen
ultralight aircraft.
people that have seen it. A lot of younger people might just say ultralight. What are you talking about? A deodorant? What ultralight? There's aircrafts.
Ultra strong.
There's aircrafts that are very lightweight. In other words, you can.
It's like flying a kite. It's like an aircraft. You sit in it.
You sit in it. It's a very lightweight aircraft, and you don't need a license. In other words, if you're 14 or you're a 15-year-old, you can actually fly like a pilot, but you don't need. And any age can.
Well, not at this point. You don't need.
You don't. Yeah, exactly. And that's a good point, because right now in this time period, and a lot of times things happen like this where things are totally illegal. Like marijuana used to be legal in the United States. A heroin used to be legal.
Cocaine.
It used to be in coke. That's how they got the name, coke out of that. But then after a while, people, want to restrict, freedoms or whatever.
Alcohol was against the law at one point.
Absolutely, alcohol. Prohibition. Alcohol was illegal. Now, these ultralight aircraft are now currently legal. And anybody that you don't need a license, and we relate this to Bigfoot, it's a tremendous way of observing Bigfoot from the air. Also, you can talk to people that fly these that see Bigfoot.
Including the drug smugglers, because they found this loophole. It's a tremendous way to smuggle drugs into the country.
And now what is the loophole? What is the loophole?
The fact that it is under the radar, you don't need a license, and you can carry a heavy load on there.
So people strap marijuana to themselves or to the plane.
Cash and marijuana. It's coming across the border.
Now, problem, daylight. People see you. How do you get around the problem? You fly at night.
Fly at night. Could be dangerous.
Yes, and that adds an extra level of difficulty to it. And then what happens? People crash because they can't see where they're going at night. And if you light yourself too much up with
you just can't light yourself if you're smuggling.
Yeah, and of course you have to the lights would have to last as long as your trip, but also it adds more weight. And if you're smuggling something, it creates a visibility problem in the sense that you're visible. It's not to your advantage.
That could create a problem.
Yeah. Now, there are people that do smuggle this during the daytime hours. We can't neglect that. Now,
everybody's going to take a chance when you stand to make tens of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars.
Well, there's people that have had millions of dollars on them that have crashed, and that's like the new American California gold rush. People are finding these planes crashed in the Southern California area. Now, they not only have tons of marijuana, which probably have millions of dollar value streetwise, and other drugs.
They got a lot of cash.
They have a lot of cash on it. And if you come across these things, I mean, it's like, would you really want to try to sell this stuff?
Look, we're not saying it's way too dangerous to even try to come across something like that. Where there's cash and drugs, there's also weapons.
Right, but when they crash, either the people in it died or they're very injured. Because if you're free falling from 50 feet, you could either die or you could break your leg. And if you break your leg and you can't move, you'll eventually die.
You'll eventually die.
Or they're injured because and people come across these things.
Unless they're in communication with their drop-off point. They've got drop-off connections. I'm sure they've got cell phones. They probably got a way to connect with them. They'll be out there looking for them, pick them up.
We've got to find photos. We've got to supply photos of these things crashed in the desert that you just see skeletons dressed in the clothes they were wearing before the trip, and maybe they have like some hair that hasn't decomposed on the top of their head, but the rest of them is just skeleton and clothes, and they've got barrels of marijuana and cash on them. Oh, we got to talk about this more in the next episode, but it is a phenomenon in the.
Who knows what else they might have on them?